Well, here to tell us what happened next, please give a very warm welcome to Georgia Harrison and her mum, Nicola. I tell you what, Georgia, it really made the hair on my neck stand up to see you standing outside that court like that, delivering that message, you know, with such kind of strength. You know, it really was an incredible moment. But taking you back to the other terrible moment, and in fact you were saying, Olivia, weren't you, that you remember getting the phone call from Georgia? Yeah,
I remember you calling me. It gives me goosebumps now to talk about it. And you were screaming and crying so much. I thought someone had died. Like, I couldn't make out for ages what you were trying to tell me. And I think if anyone ever, you know, wants to downplay the emotional impact it has on someone when you become aware, for example, that video is live, then try taking that kind of phone call and hearing that you were completely and utterly distressed. I mean, it was horrific. I'll remember that forever. It was absolutely awful.
I think I was with, like, people... I was out with friends, but not close friends. And I got a message, like, just sort of realising that it had gone global. And that's when I went in the toilet and I was calling them, but I was just, like, I couldn't even get my words out to explain it, and I was just so distressed. And it must have been hard for you girls as well, because they were like, look, slow down, like, we don't understand what's happened. You're in a different country, like...
What about you, Nicola? When did you find out?
Well, I found out when Georgia phoned me. And she was in Dubai and it was locked down, so I couldn't go out there. So that's what made it even worse, because she's such a long way away. And I was trying to calm her down, but what can you say?
But I suppose at the same time, desperately trying to calm yourself down, the outrage of that. I remember doing that to your daughter.
I remember she rang me, she was on a shoot, and she FaceTimed me. Well, I looked at her image, and she looked 10 years older. She was where she'd cried, her skin had come out. You just looked...
People had flown over from America to do a photo shoot, and I found out, like, 2 days before, there's nothing I could do. Like, they spent money, like, getting over there. So I was having to do it, but I did. I look dreadful, didn't I?
Yeah, no, she really looked awful.
I pulled it off. I still done the job.
Can you describe your emotions at that time? I know that must be difficult.
Just, like, really, really scattered, and I just felt so, like, violated, so let down. Like, I felt like less worthy of as a human being after that happening, and I just felt like not only had he, like, really taken advantage of me, but I also felt like the online platforms were also taking advantage of me. Like, they were monetising off of this. And, like, my name, when you put it in a search engine, immediately said Georgia Harrison sex tape, and it was leading, like, all these people to porn channels, and there was nothing I could do about it.
Because he was making money off that video the whole time, and you had no idea it was online.
No, and it'd been there for months.
At what point, Georgia, did you decide to actually do something about it? Because that is a very tough decision in this day and age, because, you know, thousands of women have been in your position and they just go, no one's going to listen to me, no one's going to take me seriously.
Like, I always say, I think it's important for people to go to the police, but it completely depends on your situation and what's going to be best for you sometimes. And I think at first, me and Mum were a bit like, right, we knew it was in certain places, we knew it was global because we'd seen it from someone in America, but we didn't know how big it was yet, did we? So I was like on Instagram, oh, can you send in some evidence of it? When we realised he'd put it on a verified platform, he'd sold it on various things, and it was literally everywhere.
I tried to find it because I was sending off her passport saying, can you take this down? And I had a spreadsheet, and in the end, I just thought, do you know what, it's just you're wasting your time.
This is bigger than all of us.
It's gone too far.
So how were the police when you first approached them? Did they take it seriously from the get-go?
Yeah. Like, they were really, really good, the police. And I know not all victims have the same experience in terms of the police, but they didn't judge me at all.
No,
and, you know, it's a really...
Why would they?
Yeah,
well, no, that's often what you do get,
And isn't that an awful thing that's a fear that you had, that they were going to judge you and be like, well...
And we're sitting here surprised. So that's
I think for a lot of women, they might have an initial discussion and then sometimes they feel like they're getting blamed and they don't follow it up with the police because of that. But luckily, like, my experience was brilliant with the police force.
But it's also a huge risk, isn't it, to go to court? It's very, very expensive. And you might lose just because of the, you know, the evidence that's brought forward. It is very difficult. So was there a moment in there that you're thinking, should I have done this? Should I have...
I think it's just more like where I had a couple of grievances in the lead up to court. I think the only time was around that time when I was grieving and I was in quite a bad place. I was just like, Mum, like, I don't know if I've got the strength to do it. Like, I don't know if I physically can. And she was just like, look, we're taking it day by day. But I mean,
How did you feel as a mum? Did you want to say to come on, we'll just hide away and we won't do this? Or...
When she lost her best friend and then she lost her ex-boyfriend in 6 months, and so she was grieving, and I was thinking, I was got all these statements, and I was knocking on the door, Georgia, can you just sign this, you know? But it was like, I thought you were going to give up then.
Yeah. But you didn't want her to?
No, because I knew if she could just get through the grieving stage, she'd then be strong enough to fight this.
Yeah.
And that's what happened in the end. She did get through it, and she, thank God, it took it all the way. And...
But, you know, for everybody else who doesn't know you, they're just sort of reading the headlines when they pop up. But for you, this was a 3-year process, a very prolonged process. Did you sort of at any point just think, is this going to be worth it at the end?
Well, I think even, like, me and Liv were saying, like, his blatant, like, confidence, like, he was so blazing throughout those 3 years, and I wasn't allowed to say anything on social media. So the more he was, like, putting things out to make me look bad and to discredit me, the more pressure it was having on me. And I was sometimes thinking, like, God, like, would it have been better off just having not done this, and then I'd still be able to, like, be working with certain brands and stuff.
Incredibly strong of you to push through with that kind of, like, feeling of intimidation almost.
I mean, he started a YouTube channel at one point, and every day he would let out a new 30-minute YouTube video.
You couldn't watch it,
and a lot of it would all be, like, swiping at me, and I didn't want to watch it.
Mocking you
because
the
it
whole
was so
thing.
hard for me, and it's so long, and in the end, Mum had to watch it because I was like, I need to know what's
every
in it.
day.
I tell you what, your book is very aptly titled, I have to say, Taking Back My Power. It couldn't be a better title.
Thank you.
He did get 21 months, but of course he will be released from prison at some point next year, potentially early next year. How does that feel? How are you going to deal with that?
I mean, look, for me, I always just want the best outcomes for all souls in all situations. Like, if he could learn the error of his ways and hopefully rehabilitate himself, then hats off to him, and I hope that is what he manages to do. It's just whether or not he'll do that. I think Mum's more apprehensive than me. I mean, I've got a restraining order, but...
Yeah, I just feel like he never acknowledged what he was done was wrong. Even on the day of sentencing, he was still thinking he'd done nothing wrong. And I feel like he needs to acknowledge what he's done is wrong and hopefully change.
Apologise, maybe.
Yeah, maybe apologise. I mean, I don't have to get that.
Well, I mean, whatever he does or chooses to do, I think the strength of your message is to other young women, indeed women of all ages, and it is a fantastic message encompassing. If you have been affected by anything that we've spoken to Georgia and Nicola about, then please visit our website, itv.com/helplines, where there is information and support.